Welcome to Data Cloud Now. I'm Ryan Green. Today, we are joined by three of the founders of Lightfold, a specialist analytics consultancy focusing on the modern cloud data stack. JC, G, and Kylie, welcome to the program. JC, to start with, Lightfold is based in Queensland, Australia. I would love to get your insights into what's happening in this ever-changing environment that is 2022.
That's a great question. I can tell you that what's happening is the most exciting thing I've seen in my professional career in data, which goes back quite a way. We're seeing something we've been waiting for a long time, which is, when is cloud really going to do data properly? And it's been thinking about it and it's been edging towards it, but Snowflake has really brought it home at long last. So we are seeing a fundamental rethinking of the way people even go about architecting their data and the way they think about what data means to them. You're looking at suddenly people who would previously never have thought about owning data in a big way in the business. Suddenly the CMO, the CEO, the CFO, head of sales, absolutely everybody knows they've got to get really serious about how they're managing not just the data organizationally, but their own part of that. And so people are talking about data ecosystems. They're talking about all the things that Snowflake now makes possible, like data sharing. They're talking about the whole ecosystem that's growing up around this, what we're calling the modern data stack. And that whole ability for people to be able to plug and play and clip different parts of the solution that best suits them into this global mesh, this grid that we're building with the Snowflake Data Cloud. This actually now finally feels like cloud felt when it was first doing what it did to apps. We're now seeing that, but we're seeing it with things that are actually really hard, like terabyte and even bigger than terabyte, databases that are suddenly moving with the agility we've come to expect from cloud applications. And that is creating new ideas and new concepts, like literally on a daily basis. It's also making it suddenly very accessible to a wide range of businesses, not just really big businesses. Even tiny micro businesses know that this is something that they need to be engaging with, and they can see how important data has become literally to customer experience. Like, it's now fundamental to the customer at the heart of their business proposition. It's very exciting.
It certainly feels like a top-down approach, JC. Graeme and Kylie, I want to dive into the specifics as it relates to Lightfold. How are you helping your clients use their existing data and transforming it into meaningful data? Graeme, if you'd like to start.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, something that's really cool is that we get to solve problems almost in a magical way now. Because, for example, right, I was talking to a customer and they were saying, we've got data we need to get to an external vendor. We've got data we need to get back from them. We've got data that we need to then share internally, and we need to bounce it around and do a bunch of prep work on it. We're expecting that this is going to be a few $100,000 worth of work, right? No, it doesn't need to be, especially with something like Snowflake, right? Because you can go, all right, well, let's set up some data sharing. Let's just set up a shared Snowflake environment that bounces the data back and forth, and set up another shared Snowflake environment with the end user of the data. And then suddenly the problem is solved. And what we then get to do is we get to do the fun thing that we love to do, which is to say, so what's the cool thing we can work on with you? What's the cool thing we can work with you on? What can we do? We've got data sorted. Data's moving around. What can we do with it now?
I mean, to talk about, making impact of that, Kylie, from your standpoint, what are you seeing?
I'm really excited by what the modern data stack can offer the end user. That's actually my passion, is where the money really, really hits the road there, so to speak, and making data trivial and making it about what's meaningful for you as a service agent, what's meaningful for you as a sales agent, what's the graph, what's the data that you need to make your day a standout one, how do you close that deal? So for me, it's about making the data architecture actually trivial now, and refocusing our effort about how do we enable people to do their jobs really well and perform and close deals and make sure people are taken care of and have that rapport with clients that we always knew data could do, but until now we just didn't have the technology to get into place. So it's incredibly exciting for my end of the data stack of the visualization layer and the actual agents making change with that data. Very, very cool.
And it's fascinating because you really get down to the individual use cases. I mean, that's what it's about. It's about driving impact across the globe. JC, I want to get back to you. We're well into Snowflake's Data Cloud World Tour. Lightfold has a strong presence at the Sydney stop. What are you most looking forward to? And how does, we've talked a little bit about it, but how does Snowflake fit into Lightfold's workflow really on a day-to-day basis?
It's again a really good question, and it's perfect timing for it because we've actually come from a background where we've been very focused on how do you deliver data to, like we said, the end user, into the hands of every person. And that's meant that we've been very focused on things like the Salesforce ecosystem, where a lot of our work previously has been in things like Tableau and Tableau CRM. And we've been partnering with Snowflake for some time as part of that journey in order for us to really deepen what you could do with it, because obviously the Salesforce and Snowflake partnership is extremely exciting. I mean, we've seen that partnership deepen, but just recently we've literally just heard the announcement of Salesforce Genie, which is where we're now talking about Snowflake data sharing being built literally into the next generation Salesforce CDP, which of course, like, you could see it heading there. You can see all the pieces kind of threading together. But for us, that is literally what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. We're building these data hubs that are customer-centric, that are used to create all the attributional information, all the marketing information, service information about the customer, and being able to provision that at extremely high speed and uptime and capability, which of course the Snowflake platform can do, to anybody required to achieve success with the customer, including third parties. So where you're engaging with, a marketing agency or a partner, being able to use secure data clean rooms using Snowflake Share, and the fact that we're now going to see literally like direct integration of Snowflake sharing into the CRM itself with Genie. For us, it's like, yeah, okay, we've been dreaming about this for some time now. This allows us to bring all of the capability of the modern data stack with things like dbt, like Fivetran, with simple set and forget replication, to take all of that horsepower that's emerging in the modern data stack, and then flawlessly kind of dock it into some of the premier systems people are using to actually do their work day in and day out. So yeah, it's incredibly exciting, and it is actually literally something that touches every single one of our customers.
Thank you for those perspectives. JC, I want to get a little personal if you don't mind. With your consulting background, I believe that you've worked really all over the world for one of the large firms. What lessons did you learn there? And what was the motivation for starting Lightfold? And I have to ask, I love founding stories. When did the three of you realize, hey, we have something here. Let's start our own company?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, have we got a spare hour and a half? No, it's okay. So obviously worldwide, it was an amazing opportunity for us to see what could happen when you started to connect data with things like the CRM and where people were doing their work. But what we also saw was that, again, like we mentioned before, we hadn't yet really seen cloud take data to what it could be. So there was this disconnect. There's this two speed between what was required for the data on the back end in order to achieve kind of the real objectives, the real vision of the transformation. And that's the area that we really wanted to focus on. We also saw that where you did start to see technologies that could impact this, like Snowflake. Snowflake was always like head and shoulders above the rest for us in terms of where we were focusing. Where you did see those technologies emerge, the problem was we believe that they did need new methods of implementation. Like, we're not talking about, the technology necessarily, or maybe even the technique, but we are certainly talking about the engagement model and the commercial model. So we became very much convinced that to do what we wanted to do, this idea that, Kylie mentioned before, that the technology makes what used to be hard very trivial. The data needs to actually take a back seat as a result of that. And we now need to be doing the type of human-centered design stuff that we do with apps. We need to be doing that for data. That requires a fundamentally different model. So everything that Lightfold does is fixed price, and we base it on these little units of work we call delivery units. And that allows it to be modular. It allows us to be able to scale from working with a little company that's literally only maybe doing a single delivery unit all the way up to some of the really big ASX 200 companies we work with. And that process as well, it kind of flips the conversation. That traditionally analytics engagements tend to be how long is a piece of string, right? So that they can be very much, time and materials will just keep going and going and going. And we get that. But we also feel like part of that is because the focus is in the wrong place. Whereas if you can use things like the methodology that Kylie's been running with, Tesseract, that we're very proud of, allows us to put humans and what they're doing with the data at the center of the analysis up front. And that means that we're much more likely then to be able to stay focused on what is the actual high value outcome that we need to deliver from the data, whether that's to sales, service, or marketing. And the technology and the data piece can kind of take a backseat. The interesting bit, of course, was, okay, yep, we can definitely see there's a gap in the market for this. The technology, it's lining up for this. We know, well, we think we're not crazy. So I should mention as well, we've obviously got two other founders that can't be with us today. We've got Rob Reimer and Robert Houston too. So the five of us are sitting there going, oh yeah, we'll give this a go. And ran smack bang into COVID-19. So we launched, I think the number is something like 46 days before they stopped the planes.
Wow. Wait. Let's repeat. 45 days prior to the global pandemic shutdown? Wow.
Yeah, exactly right. Which is when you've got, at the time we had 9 full-time staff, and we're literally a consulting agency trying to do some new stuff, and that happens. That's pretty harrowing. So that was a hell of an experience, and certainly one that brought us close together. And we reached a point where we had to ask ourselves, like many businesses did, it was an incredibly hard time. Do we keep going, or do we have to put a pin in this? Did we just get the timing wrong? And it was amazing. We brought the whole business together, and we said that those are the two choices are: we either shutter it, or we go all in. And all these things that we knew we wanted to do around really going deep into the modern data stack, bringing Snowflake and dbt right to the fore of how we were then pushing data into the hands of end users. What if we just pivot like hell and go deep into that? And we had what we called Miracle May, which was the May of 2019. It's got a great ring to it, doesn't it? Miracle May, yeah.
It's got a great ring to it, by the way. Miracle May. Talk about all in. I'm all in on that tagline right there.
It's a good tagline. And at the top of Miracle May was, let's get some people Snow Pro certified, right? Let's do it. Let's go deep in on Snowflake. It's the single best decision we have ever made, because it literally, on the back of that, and on the back of the trajectory then that Snowflake and the modern data stack has taken, not only did I think in some ways it saved the company, it got us faster to where we ultimately wanted to be. And it's just gone from strength to strength as a result. So yeah, from our perspective, the modern data stack and Snowflake at its core, I mean, it's literally fundamental to why the business is even here. And it's powered the growth that we're now seeing, very strong growth. I'm very proud of the growth in the business and what, my colleagues and founders and teammates and mates have been able to help us do with it. It's been a hell of a ride.
I love the founder's perspectives. There's no middle ground. It's either, do we pull the plug now, or are we going full send? And that's what's so remarkable, taking a very difficult situation, environment, flipping it on its head, finding the positive, and now scaling to new heights you never thought imaginable. So JC, thank you for those insights. But G, I think you came into things a little bit differently. Can you share for the audience watching?
Yeah, I'd love to. So the other 4 founders of Lightfold had been working together as a crack data SWAT team across the globe for about 5 or 6 years before I came into the picture. I'm a friend of JC's from way back in the day, and I was always incredibly envious of the work that they were getting to do. So when I had the opportunity to join the team, I absolutely jumped on it. One of the things that made me want to be part of the founding team of Lightfold, though, was reading through the contracts of my initial employment. The contract I'm reading through, get to the bottom, I find the 2 key metrics for what I'm supposed to achieve: build things, make sure they get adopted. Okay, all right, there you go. Love it. Because that was the key. It's like, you can build anything you want, but if you don't make it get adopted, then you've wasted your time. And one of the amazing things is that that's very, very, very easy when you're working with Snowflake. You can build amazing things, and getting them adopted is basically trivial because it just works. It's amazing.
I think at some point the data SWAT team would make great T-shirts there, G.
Absolutely.
In wrapping, I have to ask, what's next? How can the audience learn more? G, if Kylie, if you'd like to step in.
Oh, well, yeah, fantastic. So I guess at the moment, the biggest way you can learn more is by just reaching out to us. Our website, lightfold.com.au, it's got everything you need on there. and you can reach out to us that way. If you're going to be at the Snowflake events, the data events, please come talk to us there, because that's going to be fantastic. Basically, what I like to say is that my favorite thing to do is to talk to people about their data, because invariably people will say, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. Oh, it'd be so much easier if we could do this. And it's a real privilege because we work with technologies like Snowflake to be able to go, well, we can actually solve that in about 2 weeks. You need that? We can make that happen. And people go, that is something that I have hated for 2 years. Yes, please, let's solve it in 2 weeks. So that is, yeah, if you, and really our other big thing is, and I shouldn't say this, with my CEO on the line, with JC on the line, I shouldn't say this, but we love doing consulting for free, like a few hours here and there. Just contact us and we'll talk to you and we'll find out amazing solutions using something that we call Tesseract Lite, which is a smaller version of the larger Tesseract design methodology that Kylie has designed.
Yeah, and I would add to what Jeet said there and say we have an incredible offering in terms of the value and the modularity of the way that we work. And we can do so much in demystifying what at the moment seems like a bit of a hazy concept and really make it real for businesses. And we're doing that at the moment. And like we've demonstrated, it's something we love doing and really putting it into practice for people and getting value really, really quickly. That's what we're all passionate about, and that's what we've structured our business around as well.
Well, you know, you deeply care about the role that you're playing for both small and large companies. Thank you so much for sitting down with me on Data Cloud Now. I can't wait to see you in person, hopefully in the not too distant future. My next trip to Queensland, I know who I'm calling. I hope to see the three of you pretty soon. But until then, congratulations on all the success and exciting next chapter. Thank you again for joining me on Data Cloud Now.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you, Ryan. Thanks, mate.